Now let's implement the sign in and sign up pages. So right click on lib, new, create a new folder by the name views. Inside the views, we will create another folder by the name auth. So sign in and sign up falls under the auth category. So inside the auth folder, we will create first our sign up, or you can say create account page. Import the material.dart and the stateful widget. We will give it name as the create account page. Return scaffold widget. The background color will be colors.gray with shade 50. Body single child scroll view. Form widget. For the sign up form, we need a form key. So initialize a global key with form state by the name form global key. Child column widget. First we add some space, then we will display an image logo. So I have provided these three images. Please download. Once you download it, then copy it, and then in our project we are going to create a new folder by the name images, and then inside the images we will paste these images, these three images, and then we have to include this images in the pubspec.yaml file. So we can say assets, and include the images folder like that. Click pubget, and that's it. Since we are not using the Firebase storage, so you can remove this Firebase storage dependency. If you have added it already, then please remove. Click pubget. Then in here we can add the image from the asset which is inside the images folder and the images by this name. Then some space, and then we add padding widget, padding symmetric which is horizontally 20, and then column widget cross-axis alignment.center. Children widget, we add a text sign up, and then we add some space, and then another text which is create a new account and start shopping. Then after it we will add some space. Now we need the text editing controllers to take input from the user. So we add the name text editing controller, then the email and password text editing controller. Now here we forgot to add a children widget, since you know that column is a multi-children widget, so please add that. For example, I will cut this, Control X, and then you can say children widget, and in here we can paste the code. Now let's add our first text field, padding widget. Apply padding horizontally 20, and then text form field, validator value, and we check if the value is empty, which means that if the text form field is empty, then we will say that name cannot be empty, else if it is not empty, then return null. Then controller is the name text editing controller, and let's apply some input decoration. Outline input border, label for this will be name. Then after it we will add some space, and then another text form field which is for the email, and then the last one will be password text form field. So we say validator, and we check if the length of the password text form field, that is the input which the user type. If the length of it is less than @ then we will say to the user that is password should be at least 8 characters, otherwise return null. Controller is the password text setting controller, and it will be in secure form, that is in dotted form, so obscure text will be true, and apply some decoration on it. We add the button, the sign up button. The width for this will be according to the screen width, it will be 90%, and the height of this will be 50. When we say child elevated button, we add the click event on pressed, and then we apply some style on this elevated button dot style from the background color green, and the text, or you can say the foreground color, will be white. Then child text, and it is a sign up button. After this sign up button, we will have some space, we will add some space, and then we will add a row widget in which we will first make sure that main axis alignment is at the center, that is any widget inside this row will be at the center. Then we add the text widget and then a text button which will be login. Already have an account, login. And then after this row we will add some space, and then now let's go to the main.dart, and we will remove this default testing code which we added, and for now we will say the home, that is our first page, is the create account page. Open up the phone, the emulator, or if you have your real phone connected to your laptop or computer, and install the app on your real phone. Now let's implement the UI of the sign-in page. So right click on Auth, new .file. We will give it name as login page. Import the material .dart stateful widget login page. Return scaffold widget with background color gray with shade 50. Body single child scroll view, child column children widget. We display the image underscore login from the images folder, then size box, then text welcome back, then size box height 6, then another text message sign in to continue, or you can say login to continue. We will add the text form fields. So just like we did here, we need a form global key and the text editing controller. So for the login, we need the email and password text editing fields. So go to the create account page, and we need the same form from here. So you can simply copy this form and paste it in here on the login page. Now here we need remove this, also this extra size box, and also this padding and size box. We need only the controller, the text field, which is for example the email text form field, then the password text form field, and then we will have the login button, and then comes the don't have an account, sign up. Now from the main.dart, let's check out the UI of the login page. So this is the login page, and let's move it to center. Wrap this single child scroll view with center widget. Now also let's define the custom fonts for our this app. So I have already provided this couture font. Copy it, download it, and then copy it and paste it. Let's create a new folder first by the name fonts, and then paste it inside the fonts folder. Go to the pubspec.yaml and let's include the fonts. The fonts which we are using, the family of this is couture, so please write the same spellings because with the same names we will access it in our app. As well as please follow the same indentation. So it is inside the fonts folder and the name is this one, so make sure to write the exact name. Please make sure that you follow the same indentation, like font F is here, then below N we have this, okay, and then F, below this family F you have fonts, and then below this N fonts we have this dash starting like this, okay, no extra spacing, otherwise you will get errors. Click on pubcat, then on the main.dart, to the theme data, we add the font family, and the font family name is couture. So this will be the default font for our entire app text. It will be applied on all the text throughout our entire app. And the color scheme, we will proceed with the green color, and we will use material 3 true. Also we want to remove this debug banner, so we can say debug show check mode banner and set it to false. So this is how it looks. Now let's define the roots. So you can say roots. So the first root is the login root, for which we have to define the page name. So for example, we can say context, and it is the login page. Then we have our second page. Currently we have only 2 pages created yet. That is the sign up page. So we will give it name as sign up, and which is by the name create account page. So now on the login page, when the user click on don't have an account sign up, we send the user to the create account page. So we can say navigator dot put name context comma and then the root name. For example, now to send the user to the sign up page, you will need this exact root name. So we can say sign up. And then for the create account page, where we have already have an account login, then it is login root. So now let's test the application. Click on sign up. We are on the sign up page and then already have an account login. Now let's allow the user to sign up using the Firebase Authentication and the Firestore database. So on our create account page, as soon as the user click on the sign up button, we will check if form key current state dot validate. We validate the form key, which simply means that the form field must be filled. Let's create a new folder for the logics, the view model. So for example, inside the lib, let's create a new folder first by the name view model, And then inside this folder we will create a dot file by the name auth underscore services view model, or let's give it a short name, auth view model. So this class, which is auth view model, here we will implement the logic, or you can say the backend, for the backend logic for the creating user account with email and password. This function will receive two parameters like the username and the user email, and the third parameter will be the user password. Inside the try catch block, and this is basically the Firebase Auth exception, that is in case if any error occur during the user Firebase authentication. Because first we will write the code for authenticating the user, that it create user with email and password inside the Firebase authentication. Once it is done, then we will save that user info in the Firestore database. In case of exception, we have to return the exception message, otherwise we will implement the logic for creating the user account using Firebase authentication. Create user with email and password. So this is basically the parameter which we will receive. So I will give it a different name just to differentiate it. So the first parameter we need to pass to the Firebase authentication is the user email, and the second one is the user password. So simply pass to it. So it will basically create user account inside the Firebase authentication with a unique user UID assigned to each new user. Now we need to save the user information to the Firestore database. So after this method, we will create a new function by the name save user data, and this will be a synchronous function, and where we required the username and we also required the user email. Then inside the try block, we will create a map, a data map about the user data, which will be of type string dynamic. String represents the key name, dynamic means the value of it. So for example, we have the name key, and the value is inside the name variable, which we receive here as parameter. Second, we have the email, and the value is inside the user email variable. Then we create a reference to the Firestore database like this, dot collection users, that is inside the parent users collection. Each user record will be saved under each user unique ID dot set data, and the user data will be saved to it. And then inside the catch block, if any exception occur, we will display that. Make sure to import Firestore database, which belongs to Cloud Firestore, and Firebase Auth, which belongs to the Firebase Auth. So this is about save, or you can say storing the user data to Firestore database. So you can say wait and call that function from here, which is store user data, to which we pass the name, the username, and the user email as parameter. So in this way, it will save the user data to the Firestore database, to the user's main collection. Under each user ID, each user record will be saved. So we can return that account created. Please use the same keyword. For example, we will say sign up successful, because based on this specific words, which is sign up successful, we will display a message to the user on the user interface. For example, now on the create account page, first we will initialize an instance of our AuthView model. So we can say AuthView model class, the instance name of it, and now we can say AuthView model dot create user account with email and password, to which we have to pass the name, email, and password of the user. So you know that the name we have to get from the name text editing controller, that is from the name text field. If there are extra empty spaces, we have to remove using the .trim. Similarly, we have email, then get the password from password text field. And then we will check for the information, that is, for example, we will say .then, let's say status. So we will check if the status become equals to the sign up successful. If the status is this one, it means that the logic executes successfully and the user account is already created now. So we have to display on the user interface to the user that your account created successfully. So we can say scaffold messenger dot of context dot show snack bar, and the content will be text using text widget, and then the message will be, you can say, congratulations, your account created. And then once the account is created successfully, then we have to send the user to the home page. So for now let's create quickly a new page. Right click on views, new, first create a new folder. On the home page, basically we will have four buttons on the bottom navigation. So we can give this name as bottom nav, which means bottom navigation views. So for example, right click on bottom nav, new, create a dot file, that is that page. The first page name will be home page. Import the material dot stateful widget, and for now we will just say scaffold widget, and at the body, at the center, we will display a text which will be welcome to home. Now let's quickly add the root for it. So you can say home, which means home page, the root for home page. So now when the user account is created successfully, after displaying the snack bar message, we will send the user to the home page. So we can send navigator dot restorable push name until remove context home, root false. Now in case if there any error occur, then the else part will execute, and in that case we will also display a message using the snack bar, and that will be, for example, the real that error message we can get using the status. As you know that this status will give us the return values. In case of successful account creation, it will return sign up successful, and in case of exception, it will return this exception error message. So that's why we can say status. Now let's install the app on the phone. Let's go to sign up. So let's say the username is Olivia. So when we click on sign up, you can see your account created successfully. We are sent to the home page. And now if we go to the Firebase console, Firebase Authentication, you see that the user is authenticated successfully. Then go to the Firestore database, and the user's collection is created, and our first user has its own unique ID under which the user information is saved. Now let's implement the login feature. So from the login page, we will first validate the form when the user click on the login button, just like we did here on the create account page. Now let's implement the function on the auth view model about the login user. Login with email and password, which will receive user email and user password as parameter. And then inside the try block, we will say Firebase Auth.instance.signin with email and password, which require two parameters. First one is the email, user email, then the password, which is the user password. And then we will return login successful if it is successful attempt with the Firebase authentication. Otherwise, Firebase exception we have to get in case of error, and that exception message we will return. So now on the login page, we create an instance of our class, which is auth view model, and then can say auth view model dot login with email and password, and the email and password we have to pass to it as a parameter. So for example, the email we can get from the email text field, the password we can get from the password text field. We can say dot then, and then we have to get the status of the login, whether it is successful or if there is any error. So for example, we will check if the status is equals to login successful. It means everything goes successfully. We will display a snack bar message using the scaffold messenger, and we will say to the user, you are logged in successfully, and send the user to the home screen, to the home page. Now the else part will be the exception, that is in case of error. So it will be similar to just like we did on the create account page. So copy the else part from here and simply paste it here. Now let's test the application on the phone. You are logged in successfully. Of course, in case of error, that is, let's say if your password or email is incorrect, let's try it. Let's say with any wrong password, then it will display the error message, the exception message.